we go. Move the GoPro a little bit. Bring the file back on this, right? Let's see what happens. You got nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's 80 grit after severe dish out. Between every grit, we take the plate off and vacuum out the base of the machine, and we also take the plate out and blow it off the compressor. Storage and transportation wise, we transport and store this machine with the skirt off it and with the plate off it. The base of the machine has a slot that the skirt sits inside. Currently the machine has the factory pads on it plus sealies on top. These sealies aren't always the easiest thing to get off when the hook and loop system is brand new. These don't pull off very nicely. So in that event, get yourself a plastic putty knife. And it'll help you get the sealies off. There's a multitude of different ways of running this machine. We own a Trio. That's the only machine for a planetary sander that we've ever owned, and it's actually the only planetary sander that we've ever run. So we set this thing up and treat it like it's a Trio. If anybody knows anything about a Trio, it's pretty much plug and play. You either put the donuts on or you don't in your hard plate, and you use your weight or you don't use your weight, and that's how basic the Trio is. So we moved from the Trio to the Hyper Grinder. We started out as the base to use the machine in the same fashion. Every floor is different, every species is different on how you set this machine up, but we haven't discovered yet that it's all that far off. So we have the stock pads on, have the sealies on. We ran the big machines and the edger to 80 grit. And so what we're gonna do with this machine, this is a birch floor, it's gonna be clear coated. We're starting out with a silicone carbide paper 80 grit with one weight. And so what we do is we start our planetary sander at the same grit that the big machine and the edgers left off at. And there you go, she's ready to rock and roll. So as I said, there are a bunch of pad stack combinations you can do, and that'll have to be figured out depending on the condition of the room, of the floor, and the species. Start out with your basic like we do, with just your stock pads that are on there, perhaps a steely. Run it up and down once or twice, stop the machine, get down to the floor, and see what you've got, and make any adjustments from there as far as your pad stacks go. The handle here pulls up, and that allows the tilt to go backwards. And this doesn't have any positive locks. You can put this wherever you want, it doesn't matter. Wherever your configuration needs to be. So with that being said, you can put it straight up, or a little bit back, and run it like a power drive. There is also an elbow in the handle right here, which will allow this handle to go forward or go back. So I'm going to set this up in a unique position that my wife likes to run in because she's a little bit shorter. So we're going to put this back a little bit. We're going to loosen up the elbow, and we're going to push this forward. And that's the way she likes to run it. On the other hand, you can also run it like this. Bring this right up and over the machine, and then you can turn that down even further, and you can run it this way. Ours is variable speed, and there's your variable speed dial there. We almost always have it set on high speed. We did cut it down to about half speed on the previous job. So the way that we handle this, incorporating this machine into what we do is this will be the first machine in the house to make any cuts. So we'll do the perimeter of the room with this machine, and then we'll feather the big machine into it after, and we'll do the minimal edging that we have to do. So in this case, we're on a low melt finish. So the less speed you have, the less heat you're going to generate. The less heat you generate, the less gummed up your abrasives are going to be. And that's what we experienced on the previous job with this machine. Dial down the speed halfway on a more challenging low melt finish, and it went right through the place with no issue, without gumming up a lot of paper. See if I can show you the weight stack. One of these screws on each side. There's 2 weights that come with this machine. If you buy the kit, which we did, you've got your holes on each side of the machine. There you go. It's got a handle. Put the handle down, put your weights on. Finger tight, and then we just snug these down. Just like that, all done. She's ready to go. Do the other side. Good to go. So whether you stack one weight or 2, one weight goes on top of the other. Run your bolt through to the housing, and you're done. Let's run it. Chasing a cord and a hose isn't always fun in these machines, right? Or your big machine. So we just run it through the handle. Tighten knot. Machine comes with a long cord attached to it. We lobbed it off and put the end on. And there you go. The hose from the dust collection, we run in from the front on the left-hand side. Loop it down. And then if we want, we can tie the hose and the cord together. So right now it's got 80 grit bone of black on it, stock discs with the steelage, no interface pads. And I'll make a couple of runs for you. 80 grit bone of black scratch, stock pads, steelies, no interface pads. We do run this machine from left to right and up and back like the big machine. That's the way the Trio runs most efficiently. And since that's what we're used to, we came into this machine with the same premise of setting up the pad system and how we run it up and back, left to right. The cut point on this machine is on the right hand side, as you would expect from a buffer. So that's the reason why we also run it up and back, left to right. Feathering sides in the left, more aggressive cut sides in the right, and we run it up and back. That way we're cooling down the abrasive too on one of the passes. So there you go. Great machine. Anytime we go out and take an extended break like lunch or at the end of the day, we lay the machine on its back. We don't want any of our machines resting on their drums or their plates or their discs or anything. So we just lay it on its back. If we take a lunch or a break on this particular machine, we also unplug it. We unplug all of our machines, but we want to unplug at least the light and lay it back. Light does tend to get pretty warm on top of the cage, so you don't want to overheat anything. Unplug your light, even if you're only going out for a couple minutes and coming back in for a break. Just unplug it. The way all the lights plug on these machines is there's outlets on the side, and there's one on each side. And there you go. You're plugged in. You're ready to go. Great machine. I think we covered everything. Pad stacks, how to get the drive on and off, the dust skirt, cleaning in between every grit and every pass, the dust skirt, the plate, and the undercarriage of the machine, the weights, stack weights, pad configuration, the light, the handle configuration, multiple different ways to run it. And there you go. It's just a great machine. It's an overall great machine. We've been in business for 31 years, and by far this is one of the best investments we've ever made. It's actually exceeded our expectations. Everything is job pending as far as your pad setup, like I discussed earlier, and also your abrasive setup. So what might work on one species doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work on another species. So set it up how you think it's going to be, need to be set up, and just realize that you're probably going to be wrong. Make a pass that you up and down the floor, start the machine, and get down on the floor on your hands and knees. Take a look at the scratch pattern you're getting, and this machine will also create dish out if it's not set up properly with your pad configuration or your wheel position. So you're going to want to make sure that your scratch is where it needs to be and your wheel configuration is where it needs to be in order to achieve the results you want to achieve. And as soon as you're dialing in, you're off to the races and you're good to go. So the wheel configuration, you got these here on the back of the machine, which will set your wheels, and you can let the machine set in its natural state as it is and lock them down. Or what we do is we just give it a little tiny push. You see that? Just a little tiny push forward, just to give it a little bit of nose weight. And then we tighten up both wheels. And so far, that way of setting up this machine for us on the 3 jobs that we've done, and keep in mind we've only done 3, but that seems to work just fantastic on how the scratch comes out on all the grits. Once we set our wheels in like that, lock them right in, that's it. There you go.